Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Great Scott. I'm Scotty V. Thanks for watching. I like to fancy myself a bit of a poker player. I've never had one of these, but it got me thinking that Superman has a number of powers that he could use to give himself an advantage when playing fair play games such as poker. Sometimes there are other games that require cards as well. He could use his X-ray vision to look through them. There was an episode of the television show Lois and Clark called Requiem for a Superhero, which, by the way, I had a better name for it at the time. I called it Men of Steel. The reason I called it that was because of the guys who were cybernetically enhanced by Lois Lane's father through Lex Luthor's hiring of him. He had initially planned on helping them to heal, and it turned out to be a boxing scam to where these guys could beat up everyone. In the end, Clark is easily able to overpower the guy who gets one good sucker punch in, and it looks like Superman is in trouble, but we know better as he gives him a little pluck to the nose, knocking him unconscious very, very easily. But back to poker, there's a scene in the show where Jimmy, Clark, Perry, and Lois are at a poker game, and Jimmy remarks that Superman would be great at poker because he could use his X-ray vision to look through the cards. Clark, meanwhile, is starting to do just that when Lois and Perry say that Superman would never do that because he's a fan of fair play and would never cheat. Having said this, Clark realizes that he was making an error and that he would not cheat and decides to fold the hand. Now, I've had people argue with me that Superman couldn't do that even though he has X-ray vision. How could he see what was on the other side of the card? If he's looking through the card, then he's looking through the card. How would he be able to see that there's an ace of spades on the other side? My explanation for this is that the paint on the card is actually a separate layer. And they actually kind of show it on the episode. Using his X-ray vision, he starts to look through the first layer of the card. Then he looks through the next layer. He begins to see an outline of I believe there's a border around the card. So what is essentially happening is he's seeing through the outer layers of the card, but not seeing through the paint, which allows him to then see the paint on the other side of the card, which tells him what the card is by using his X-ray vision. It's almost as if the whole outer outline of this card would disappear and just the ace and the spade were floating in the air. That's kind of the way his X-ray vision would work there. Now my question is, what would you do if you had these powers? Would you consider it cheating or a bad form to look through the cards? Obviously, the general term, the general definition of cheating would be that yes, you're giving yourself an unfair advantage and therefore you are cheating. What I love about this scene, it's one of my favorite scenes in all of the show. It doesn't have action, it doesn't even have Superman in his outfit, but it shows that even though Clark has the desire to win the game, and he almost cheats, he decides in the end that what he stands for is greater than winning a poker game by cheating, and he has to fold. And this shows that he has a great deal of human qualities to him, but that he has learned through growing up and becoming Superman that he must not cheat and he must not do those types of things. And I used to love on the show Lois and Clark when they would do things like this, showing the moral fiber that he is made of. But also, one argument I always get from people is that he has no problems. He always does what's right. He doesn't have any temptations. He doesn't have any desire to ever do anything wrong. And that's not necessarily the case. It's just his willpower and his ability to know what's right that stops him from doing such things that some of us also struggle with in our own lives. Thanks for everybody for watching. My name is Scotty V, and remember, always look up in the sky.